Alright, so how's it going, ladies and gentlemen? It's Ranger Flight. Welcome everyone to my Black Clover episode 59 review. Today, everyone, we're going to be focusing on the Flames of Hatred. This is the fight between the Black Bulls versus Fana. Another big fight here of course, the Witch's Forest arc here happening in the anime. And of course, this is an episode that's going to be dived down and character depth into Fana's character and why people should actually care about her in the first place, because she's definitely more of an important character than Vito in this series. Of course, Vito's character was more focusing on why should we actually care about his character. It was more about him being, in despair, why, the elves actually hate the Clover people in the first place. There's actually more description of that in this episode, which I will cover more here pretty soon. But let's jump into the episode. So this episode here, we see definitely a new environment of the Queen of the Witches. Of course, this was a place that was really strict and a lot of people were scared about just because of the Queen Witch. If anyone stepped foot in this place, they could possibly even be killed. So this is definitely a new environment in this, where everything is literally on fire. This is like truly a disaster for this place, and definitely a first thing as well that we see throughout the environment. And of course, we see Asta and them face off against Fana right here in this part, which of course we see Asta's arms healed all back together. He could of course wield his swords again to truly fight off enemies, but he wants to wonder, why is he fighting Fana in the first place? There's got to be something like why the elves actually hate the of course the Clover people in the first place. And Asta's that type of dude. You could definitely say he's like Naruto, for example, where he doesn't really want to fight everyone. He wants to give a description of, hey, why are we even fighting in the first place? I want, give me your story of why you hate us so much, and let's come to an understanding. But of course, Fana is that type of person that is just full of hatred, that no matter what anyone says, she's going to attack. And of course, with her salamander as well, which her flame magic and everything like that is truly beautiful in this. I love the animation for it. And why should we actually care about her in the first place? So I want to get to that right there. Of course, this is a big development for her, in this episode, and it's going to definitely be more into the anime as well. So I'm pretty sure everyone guessed it by now. We even see that in this episode, and then her character development, who she actually is in the first place, because she can't just do flame recovery magic, she can also do mineral magic as well. And you gotta wonder, someone else could use that same exact magic, which of course is Mars. We see flashbacks, of course, when Asta faced Mars back in the Dungeon Kingdom arc, and we see that in this episode that Fana could use that same exact magic, and we can even see from her grimoire that it looks exactly like Mars. So they gotta have a special connection, right? So we figure out clues that Fana is sister of Mars or her childhood friend. I just want to say that back and forth, because in the manga it really states that it's actually Mars's childhood friend, but we see that in this episode that Asta is saying that, hey, are you the sibling of Mars? So technically Mars's sister. And it kind of snaps in her memory that something is controlling Fana. What happened to her in the first place? Because we know the backstory of the Diamond Kingdom, that these kids go into a fight against each other, and the last person left standing becomes this ultimate warrior for the Diamond Kingdom. And we've seen in the backstory that Mars was the victor, and we thought, like, in that, which we actually killed his sister or his childhood friend, but we see in this episode that she is Fana and that she is still surviving, but she's not the person that she is. And why is that? Like, what truly happened to her? How is she alive in the first place? Which we'll definitely get more into that and further, and of course the anime, of course, that explains everything. I won't say anything more, of course, due to spoilers, but of course the trigger system as well in this episode is, why do the elves hate the Clover people so much? And I don't know if there's a full confirmation about that yet. I keep up with the manga. Every single week when a chapter drops, of course I read it, but I haven't really went back to it in quite a bit. So I don't think we actually have the confirmation of why so who attacked the elves in the first place. We see that in the background that Fana, she was best friends with Light. We even see that in the flashback of when Vito was really best friends with Light. That Light was really good friends with first ever Wizard King, which we see the Wizard King actually animated in this episode, because we always see that preview in every single episode that the mage defeated the demon and he became the first Wizard King, but we actually didn't see his face and what kind of character and the voice actor, by the way, of who he was. And of course they had that special connection that humans and elves should live together. They'll have this peace treaty and everyone should live happily ever after. But of course that turned into dust. This big attack came onto the elves, and the elves want the revenge, of course, on the humans, and that's a story there. So we definitely, of course, want that. It's a big mystery to Black Clover still of what actually happened. Was it not the humans? Maybe it could possibly be the demons. Who knows right there? So that's of course, the big story and mystery, all that stuff. But of course, the fight happens. We see Noelle's big character development in this episode, which of course, if you're a Noelle fan, you're definitely cheer for this, because Asta in the game, they can't get anywhere near Salamander. Fana unlocks the third eye, which of course gives her big magical powers, just as we've seen Vito from the underwater temple arc, which happened, in of course the last arc. So it grants her more power. Salamander gets a huge improvement. So he has this flame barrier all around, which of course Asta can't even get to as well. Like, he can't even swing his swords because the heat is so incredibly, strong, that of course, Noelle is the only one that could actually fight off Fana because she has water magic. And of course, we see her huge magical abilities in this episode, but she has doubts as well. Growing up, Noelle was always scared with her brothers and sister because she always called her a failure. She was, I guess, technically the one that killed off her mom, and they can never forgive her for that. But of course, we see Asta, she was the only one that actually gave Noelle courage. And that's kind of why Noelle actually fell in love with Asta in the first place, because when she was always cold like that, ever since she joined the Black Bulls, Asta was the very first person to give her courage and said that she was actually a strong individual. You could be whoever you are. And we see that in this episode, that she could still use her magical powers, and that she could prove her brothers and her sister Ron that she could be a strong mage and even surpass them one day. So a huge character development for Noelle, going more into the future of Black Clover, and we can understand that now, why she actually fell in love with Asta in the first place. We see the Sea Dragon's Roar here yet again, which of course was her big move that got introduced into the underwater temple arc, and now we see it here again in the Witch's arc versus Salamander. But a huge improvement now that she has a little bit of control of the Sea Dragon's Roar. Instead of just one attack going straight to the enemy, she can actually curve it all around, so it's actually like a dragon to attack the Salamander. Great animation, I love it. It gives me goosebumps every time I see that, just because it's definitely, I guess, my favorite magical ability so far that we've seen in Black Clover animated. They do such a well job on it, so I give them props for that. So big character development for Noelle, but we also get a huge development for Asta's character as well. This might not be really important, but it actually is, because he uses his special move more into the anime for Black Clover, I guess more into the series, which is the Bull Thrust. And the Bull Thrust, it's mainly just Asta picking up speed, combine the two swords together to strike the enemy, which we see him do with Salamander. So I'm just going to say, look forward to that move more into Black Clover. We see him, of course, attack the Salamander, defeat Fana, and it cancels the episode out right there. So it definitely was a great episode. It was a huge character development, of course, with Fana. Why should we actually care about her character, who she actually is in the first place? Huge, of course, development for Noelle and her, surpassing her limits. Asta's new move, the Black Bulls, of course, protecting the Witch's Forest, and then of course we're going to be moving on into next episode, which is of course the Diamond Kingdom people, because it's not just Fana and the Eye of the Midnight Sun attacking the Witch's Forest, it's also of course the Diamond people as well, and why Zell actually has a connection with Mars and Lyris in the first place, which of course is going to be explained in next week's episode. But yeah, everyone, that was episode 59 of Black Clover. I definitely enjoyed it. They're still following the route. I think this is the last arc we're going to get for Black Clover until the new series. We actually haven't got confirmation of if they're going to actually surpass the Witch's Force or not. But with my rating this episode, guys, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Definitely an episode I enjoyed. But let me know down in the comments below, how did you guys feel about this episode? If you guys did like this video, of course, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. That'd be greatly appreciated. Either way, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you guys all next week, of course, for a new Black Clover episode. Hope you guys all have a fantastic day, and we'll see you guys all later. Peace out.